Welcome to Lemoore City Council Chambers located at 429 C Street. This is the March 5th meeting. Please silence all electronic devices as a courtesy to those in attendance. Thank you. If you could, oh, never mind. If you could please stand for the invocation given by Pastor James Jones from Apostolic Church Last Days Ministry and remain standing for the pledge led by Councilmember Orth.
With bowed heads. Father, we thank you for the freedom to pray in this place. We thank you, O God, Lord, that you have blessed us. And Lord, we ask, Lord, that you would give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in the council meeting tonight. Lord, I ask that you would bless their homes, bless their children, bless everything that they need. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pray, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello. Councilmember Garza is absent. Councilmember Lyons,
Present.
Councilmember Orth,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gornick absent, and Mayor Matthews.
Here.
Thank you.
Just for the record, Councilmember Garza and Councilmember Gornick had a conflict tonight and could not make it, so. But there's three of us, so we have a quorum. So we'll go ahead and conduct business. Agenda approval additions and or deletions.
There are none, Mayor.
We'll go ahead and move on to closed session. 1, liability claim government code section 54956.95. Claimant, Mr. Danny Sims. And with that, we'll go briefly into closed session. Session.
Nothing to report, Mayor and Council.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to study session, item 1-1, code and standards review and update, group 3, Mr. Brandt.
Thank you, Mayor. Steve Brandt, City Planner. Pull up this PowerPoint. So as you know, we've been reviewing some codes and standards the past few meetings, and this will be the last group, group 3, that we're going to review. The intention after the meeting is that Christy and I are going to get back together, talk to other departments as needed, and come up with some more succinct proposal. We'll bring that to the planning commission first, and then it'll come to you for final review and approval. So, and those will be public hearings available for the public to comment. So the first issue is, what, huh? Oh, yes, maybe a little bit. I can kind of see it. But it's not, this isn't working. Okay, so the first issue is starting new homes before maps are completed and also finishing homes before roads are completed. So the first part of the issue is there's a new state law that takes effect in July that requires cities to approve multifamily development projects of 10 units or less. If they need a parcel map, we have to approve it. It doesn't have to go to planning commission. They just turn it in and we have, if it meets all the technical requirements, we have to approve it. If they, and then if it would normally require, if it's zoned for residential, would normally require a CUP, we still have to approve it. So it's another one of the state overrides of our zoning. But we want to put some things into the subdivision ordinance for technical survey reasons to ensure that the technical things are still being met. So that's what we're proposing to do, and we'll be bringing those back. So that one's pretty straightforward. The second one is a little more, the second part of it. My clicker's not working, Marissa. Is so when let's say a subdivision's under construction, sometimes developers request to start construction of a new home before the streets are built. In one case recently, a developer asked for the homes to be given an occupancy permit before the street was fully constructed. And so the city doesn't really have a standard for what to do in those situations. We've been taking it case by case. And now, given the previous law that I mentioned, we're thinking this might happen more often. That people are they're trying to get ahead, they're trying to get the homes built, and they're trying to do the streets and the homes at the same time. But we want to look out for health and safety issues, particularly you need to be able to get a fire truck in there if one of those homes that are under construction catches fire. And so we want to work with the building, engineering, and fire departments to come up with some standards so that we're not making rules every time somebody asks. We're not coming up with new rules, that we have a standard. This is our standard. And if you want to do this, this is what you have to do. Maybe some type of temporary paving to get to the site or something like that. So we'll work with the other departments for that. So I don't know, there's not much to discuss on those two. I wanted more to just tell you that this is what's happening. So this was the council in the past has expressed some interest in revisiting the standard local street cross section, especially as relation to the sidewalks. So currently we have two standards for the sidewalk. It can either be right up against the curb, or there can be a parkway in between, a landscaped parkway, and the sidewalk would be set back. All of that still happens within the public right of way. So what we do now is we tell the developer, you can't mix and match. You has to be the same throughout your subdivision, but you have to tell us at the beginning of your project which standard you're going to use.
Do some of them want to mix and match ever?
I don't think anybody's ever asked. It's more of just, that's what we'd rather tell them.
Okay.
But nobody's ever complained about that. If you go to the next slide. So we did some research into what other cities standards are. You can see they're they're not all exactly the same. Lemoore's pretty close. We have a 5-foot parkway and a 5-foot sidewalk when you have a parkway. This is for the local streets. Hanford's, the parkway's a little bigger, the sidewalk's a little smaller. Visalia is the same. Corcoran is about the same. Wasco, the parkway is a little bigger, and then Dinuba is the same. So, and then you can see the collectors and arterials have slightly different standards, but I think unless you want to revisit those, I think we're only really talking about the local streets. Because if there's a parkway in a collector or an arterial, it's usually put into the public facilities maintenance district, and so it's maintained. It has a fund to maintain it. And that's part of the issue. If you go to the next slide, is looking at landscape standards. So when we have landscape standards, and I think everybody would kind of agree that the top slide is kind of the desired objective. This is kind of what we're expecting when you have a parkway, something that looks nice. It's got trees in it. They're doing well. But the one on the bottom is kind of typically what we've been getting. Not very well maintained. These areas are maintained by the homeowners. And so either they're not maintained, they're not very well maintained, or somebody goes in and completely changes it and it looks different. They put in rock or they put in some cobble. I saw some where they changed out the street trees to put in palm trees, and we would normally not allow palm trees in the parkway. It doesn't work well. Christy made a comment when she looked at my PowerPoint that I was generous and that there's some that are a lot worse than this one. And it's one of those things where maybe that's just not working. So that's what I wanted to put out to you, is maybe we're not going to get the desired objective in Lemoore. And an alternative would be to say we're only going to be doing the sidewalk adjacent to curb, and then people maintain behind the sidewalk. Because it just doesn't seem to be working. Another wrinkle that's happened is the Muello requirements, which is water efficient landscaping, has really changed how you can landscape the parkway. You can't put grass in it anymore. And so that was the easiest thing to do. And now we can't do that. And so the shrubs, some of them work, some of them don't. So wanted to open that up. Go to the one more slide. A subset of that is some cities are allowing artificial turf. There's a question as to whether we should be allowing it or not. I think we have allowed some here and there, but the code is not specific as to whether it definitely is or definitely is not allowed. It doesn't speak to it. So our recommendation is to eliminate the parkways from our standard. And if you're amenable to it, we can look at a way of maybe requiring a street tree in every yard or something like that. If you want to, or not, just say the developer decides what to do. So I wanted to open that up for conversation to get us some direction, and then we can go back and get you some draft code.
Let me ask, I think I know, the parkway is pretty much from the sidewalk to the street, that little.
The little strip, the
little-
landscape strip between the back of the
Worthless-
curb and the front of the
worthless
sidewalk.
landscape.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
okay.
parkway.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not necessarily worthless. I think the purpose is to make it more walkable and to give
Definitely.
pedestrians and kids riding bikes or whatever, a little buffer for traffic.
It's definitely more walkable. If I want to say the pros of it, if you think about it, when you have the sidewalk set back like that, then if somebody's walking down the sidewalk, they don't drip down every time there's a driveway, because it's still just a continuous sidewalk. If we did go to an adjacent sidewalk setback, we would need to come up with something that kind of wraps around the curb. because of ADA requirements now. But that's one of the benefits. There's some safety benefits. You're away from the street when you're walking. I think when it's done well, it is more attractive for the neighborhood, but it's not always done well. So,
And kept.
And
and it's
kept,
not well kept.
because in my neighborhood, it has it, and I love mine, but I also
Live
keep
in a brand new neighborhood. too.
mine up, but a lot of my neighbors don't. So it looks like some of the other ones that, but it is a good safety. It is a good, really, really good safety for the kids riding their bikes and all that, so.
Is
It
there?
makes it easier that's where you put the fire hydrant. That's where you put the street light. It makes it a little easier that way.
Maybe your water meter,
And,
or is that further in
I think we
The
put water.
water meters.
We
is
put
in-
water meters behind the sidewalk.
Yeah.
behind?
It's in
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
The water meter's in there.
yeah. Oh, is it in this,
It's
is it
in
in the
there.
It's in
parkway?
the parkway.
Mine's in the
Okay,
parkway.
okay.
It might also save some people's vehicles from getting sideswiped by some crazy scooter drivers or bicyclists.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times my kids ran into my neighbor's truck riding their bikes on the sidewalk, but
What if you took away the
Oh.
parkway and just made a wider sidewalk?
Yeah, that's an option.
Cause
Do
I know
the-
that like during the rainy months, when you park along those and you're trying to go to someone's house and
you're stepping.
Track
in.
you
mud.
gotta step
Stepping
in,
in
you're
mud.
looking for the good spot to step so you don't step in mud or something. And I know also sprinkler lines, it's hard when they break to fish a new line under the sidewalk. That's
Mhm.
kind of a pain. I'm not opposed to doing away with the parkway. I mean, then again, I like to give the choice to the people too. So, I don't know.
And this is gonna be obviously moving forward, so new subdivisions after
Mhm.
this, but
So we're either gonna decide whether we're gonna have park lanes, or not gonna have park lanes or parkways, or it's gonna be up to the builder. Is that what we're basically talking about?
well, I mean, right now it's up to the builder. We're okay with both. But the question that I'm bringing up is, are you okay with both, or do you want to just go with one?
Just,
and-
okay.
Because of the issues that are coming up. And again, there are benefits to parkways. But it's kind of like, which do you care about more?
Could we make them, like Stu said, and pour concrete all the way to the street?
Yeah, it would cost more.
Yeah,
It would cost more. I don't know that we'd do the entire way, because that'd probably be like a 9-foot sidewalk. That might be overkill, but we could look at a 6-foot.
yeah, that's what I mean. Just make it to where it goes and gives the people more of a front yard, basically.
Mhm.
But then the water meters,
It's okay if they're cemented in.
Mhm.
It's actually almost better.
yeah.
And then I saw a little bit of a cringe about requiring street trees. No,
I think we need a better list of what trees go in those areas, because I think that's the problem, is the ones that have been put in have caused a lot of damage to sidewalks, curb and
Yes.
gutter, even the street. So I think maybe looking at that list
okay,
better.
we can do that.
And I like the artificial turf. The option.
The option.
To give the person the option. I mean, I have grass and I don't have a problem keeping my grass green, but some people,
The one in this picture is in Visalia. The entire neighborhood is artificial turf. The builder put it in.
see, and I like how the grass goes all the way to the street.
Mhm.
And I know you can only do that
You can't,
with
you can't,
artificial,
you can only do it with artificial. You can't
Artificial,
do
you
it
can't do it
with
with
regular turf.
regular
anymore.
turf, because we may get water on the sidewalk. So. I don't know. Just wanna,
Is that a
wait till-
consensus?
what,
I'm indifferent on the artificial. What are the pros and cons of that? I mean, obviously, saving water is one.
Saving
but-
water's one.
looks
Aesthetics
nicer.
are in the eye of the beholder. They're looking better than they used to. And I think we would, if you did want to specifically allow it, we would write something so that, the the old style green turf that you put on your back patio. We wouldn't allow that,
No.
but, um,
Add in
yeah.
something with the fluff factor. It has to look fluffy.
has to look a little fluffy. There's different standards. I can work with our landscape architects and
Yeah, a
come
lot.
up with
a lot
a
of those-
minimum standard.
My mother-in-law put it, and my daughter put it in both their houses, and looking at it, we looked at 5 or 6 different options, and they're all nice. I mean, it's only been 3-4 years, and they still look good, but I mean, if I had $10,000, I'd probably put it in my front yard too, but it's expensive, so.
Yeah.
I mean, but if a builder's willing to do it, because I think the grass going to the street looks much better than grass stopping a 2 feet, and then you put dirt
Yeah.
and bark to where when it rains, all that dirt and bark goes on your sidewalk. It just looks horrible, in my opinion, but
My grass goes all the way to my sidewalk, so.
yeah, my other house does that, so.
Okay, so should we take out the parkway?
I think that's what he's
Or
looking
do you
for.
still want to leave it as an option?
Okay, I want to do something fun. There's a decent amount of people in here tonight. So just by a show of hands, who would be opposed to removing park lanes?
Would be opposed.
I'm just raising my hand as a show of how you raise your hand.
Who wants to remove the
I
parkways?
would like to remove them
Who wants to remove them?
all the way. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're for cement. Yeah.
I don't want a tree either.
Okay, I propose that we do all cement. We get rid of the dirt park lanes or whatever you want to put in there.
And I'd probably agree with that. Even though I have
I'm
them.
outnumbered.
No,
It-
yeah,
It's, I was clearly outnumbered. I
Yeah,
think there were
the-
2 of us.
yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of parkways,
Yeah, and make the sidewalks a little bit wider.
like a little bit, not
Not a
9
lot.
feet, but
Yeah.
I would like a 9-foot sidewalk.
So would I.
Why not?
it's all concrete
Okay. All right, we have it written down.
and an artificial turf,
Okay.
right? You don't have a problem with it? Artificial?
I do, but you couldn't do what you want.
All right, so like I said, we'll work out the details, take it to planning commission and bring it back to you. We'll bring back all 3 groups that we've talked about.
Cool.
Are we done with this one?
We're gonna open it up for public comment real quick. Is there any public comment on any of these items that Mr. Brandt discussed? Mr. Reed?
Tom Reed, part
Old
of the board.
faithful.
Going back to the occupancy permit without finishing the street, I would be opposed to that. I think it leaves you open to, it could just be dirt there, and if you have winter and you have rain, and then you've got mud, it would be a mess. So I would definitely say no. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment on any of those items we discussed?
Maybe you could get them to raise their hand about something.
We're just gonna start doing hand raising polls. Just kidding.
I like it. I think it's fun.
I know you do.
Just like-
Okay, so I guess that concludes our study session. That was quick and painless. Yeah. We'll go ahead and move on to public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. This time is reserved for members of the audience to address the city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. It is recommended that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes each, and it is requested that no comments be made during this period on items on the agenda. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. Prior to addressing the council, any handouts for council will be provided to the city clerk for distribution to the council and appropriate staff. The public will have an opportunity to comment on items on the agenda once the item has been called and the mayor opens the item to the public. Is there any public comment? Any online? No, okay. All right, move on. No ceremonial presentation. We'll go ahead and move on to department and city manager reports.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Norcroft?
Mayor and council, let's start with our Public Works Director, Frank Rivera.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Last meeting I mentioned that we had well number 7 go down. We actually pulled the well out of the ground. We do have some bowls that have actually split in half, so we're not sure what's going on, so we're gonna we have a cameras scheduled for this week. Go run a camera in there, find out maybe if the well casing didn't crush, so well number 7 will be down until we determine what the fix is. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
Next, filling in for Police Chief Kendall is our Police Lieutenant Dan Santos.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. Just 3 things. On February 28th, our officers responded to the 800 block of Champion Street for a report of a shooting. Since that date, our detectives were able to identify and place 1 individual into custody and arrested a 2nd suspect on unrelated charges to that shooting. That case is still under investigation, so there's not much more that I can say without interfering with the case. This week, our officers will be participating in the Read Across America with the elementary schools in our area. We enjoy doing that. It's dealing with the kids. It's like a breath of fresh air for us. So we're looking forward to it. And last, Chief Kendall plans on presenting the annual report in the next council meeting. That's all we have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And then if we could have a community development update from Ray Greenling.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. I'll keep it brief also. Good news or bad news first?
Bad.
Bad. Okay, so Panda.
Oh, God.
Madam Mayor has been in contact with PG&E. We spoke to the superintendent. And right now we're looking at the 18th and 19th.
Well, that's not so bad.
Of this month?
Yes,
We'll see.
Okay.
yes.
We'll see, yeah.
So
What,
any bets?
They got pushed off again
Yes.
because of the
Yeah,
weather
it
this
was
time.
Weather,
Oh,
because
of
they
course.
considered emergency, so.
You're not talking about opening, you're talking about.
No, this is just strictly for getting power. They need to
We
move the
gotta-
transformer, get power, get them hooked back up. And then
another
it's gonna be
30
about
days
a
after
month.
that?
He told me roughly about a month after that, but they could speed it up. It may take them longer. It just depends on their contractors and if they're, the schedule.
So is this the same thing as last time? They're gonna have to shut down the whole block or something like that? And
Yes.
they're gonna have to turn off, who all is gonna lose power?
From my understanding, parts of, along Ramona Road, where the empty building is, possibly that ice cream place over there, UPS. And I believe some of the businesses possibly over by where the Kmart is. I never got a list of exactly all the people. But, that was one of the things that happened, I don't know, about 4 weeks ago, where they said that they discovered more people on the power, so they had to reschedule. So,
God forbid PG&E knows who they have power to.
so, okay, so the good news, Recreation Department, we're started our spring soccer. It's starts this week. And it'll go from Wednesdays to Saturdays. And we'll be there till approximately about 9 o'clock at night. The game should end somewhere around 8:20, 8:30, somewhere around there. And those will run all the way to the end of April. So we're going on that. So we have over, as I stated before, we have over 540 kids signed up. So we didn't break our record, but we came close.
Nice.
That's all I have. Any questions?
I'm just going to add to that. Don't forget to bring in any candy or
Yes.
egg donations to the
For
rec
Easter.
department for the,
For the Easter drive, for
Yeah.
Nine's working on all that also. And then answer earlier when you guys were talking about the sidewalks, attached, detached, that's what we used to refer to. If you want to see them attached, go to the Lenore subdivision. They are attached over there, and they also went and added, oh wait, let me make sure I'm in the right. Geez, I've got to remember now if it's in the right neighborhood. I know GJ Gardner has it attached and they made wings to go around also for the handicap for the ADA. So that way you're not going into the approaches and stuff like that. So anyway. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could make a few comments of, today's finishing my second week with the city of Lemoore. I can't say I know all the city intimately, but I am learning about a very fine city. I'm very happy to be here. Critical thing I think all of us recognize is the finances and the budget of the city. We have found some finds that I think will help improve our situation when we get into the budget process. We can do much better with investments. We're also looking at grants, CDBG, housing, water, and sewer to work more aggressively, hopefully. I will say that the city is not fat. It is quite thin. We have 2 department heads. We have 13 people reporting directly to me at this time. Each employee does janitorial service in their own office, which I've never been in. That's a first experience for me. We have 18 vacancies of 113 authorized positions. We've not had a salary across the board increase since 2022. So we are thin. Certainly, the fact that we have no large commercial tax base, no new automobiles and other things like that affect the financial stability of a community like ours. The volunteer fire department is a real positive. It probably saves us a couple million a year, but our sales tax currently is less than 27 of the 29 area cities that we're kind of competing with for quality and for businesses and residents. I think if I can input something in my 3 to 6 months here with the city is the need to maintain that quality with better financial stability for the future of the city. We can continue to look for more savings, more innovation, but a stronger base would guarantee us the quality and the gracious living style that I think Lemoore has been known for and hopefully will continue to be known for. A couple other things. The People's Cannabis operation in our city was concerned about a development on the border of our city within our general plan area that went before the County Planning Commission a month ago and again last night. And both times the staff recommended that we shared the concerns they had, and we're hoping that the county would work with the developer to make sure mitigation protected the interests of our large industry. Unfortunately, the County Planning Commission voted 3-2 to move on without those appropriate mitigations. So we'll continue to monitor where we are on that. And then the last thing, just to remind you that I unfortunately will be gone. Your next council meeting, Police Chief Kindle will, I'm sure, capably serve as my replacement. Probably more significant, probably in May, we may be expecting a maternity leave from our city clerk. That'll be probably more critical to the organization. But we will be bringing next meeting, I think, ability to help with the elections we have in November and working with the county on that. And I will say, I mentioned to the clerk, I suggested a baby name of Lemoore, but I don't know if that's going to go over very well with her. So that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the consent calendar, items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member or member of the public requests individual consideration. Item 4-1, approval minutes, regular meeting, February 20th, 2024. 4-2, approval denial of claim for Mr. Danny Sims. 4-3, approval appointment of Lemoore Planning Commissioners. 4-4, approval bid award Bush Street pedestrian improvements. 4-5, approval revised salary schedule. Would anyone on council like to pull any of those items?
No.
Okay. Would any member of the public like to pull any of those items? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent calendar.
Motion to approve consent calendar is read.
Second,
A motion by Councilmember Lyons and a second by Councilmember Orth. Councilmember Lyons,
Yes.
Councilmember Orth,
yes.
and I vote yes as well. That passes 3 in favor. There's no public hearings. Moving on to new business, we have item 6-1, report and recommendation, review of city charter, Mr. Northcraft.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a receive and file information only item. Several people asked me about exactly what our charter said, and while it's available online, I believe I thought for the public's information, reflect that. I think a lot of cities, when you think of a city charter, you think of one that gives specific authorities to the council and to the staff. Ours is a very one-page, very simple charter. It basically is involved in the prevailing wage to give us permission to advertise purely local funded projects without the prevailing wage, which generally saves 20 to 30% on a project, and also to offer local preferences in our bidding. But that's basically, I just wanted to make that public since I had more than one person ask me what was in that. So staff recommendation is to receive and file.
Thank you. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public on that item? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on. 6-2, report and recommendation, fiscal year 2024-25 budget calendar, Mr. Northcraft.
Thank you. We've made some adjustments to the budget calendar and wanted to present that to you, especially because 2 of you are on a committee and involved in that. We hope to have the rough draft of the budget to the committee by March 25, and then meet and give you a week or so to review it, and then meet in early April. Finish through the process and the study session and finish in June. I have a really great team of new people involved in the budget this year, Amanda Champion and Jocelyn Valdez, and I'm really looking forward to working with them, but we have a lot of work in the next month or 2 to work on. Put that in a shape that is acceptable to the council and to the community.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
Recommendation is to accept and approve the budget calendar.
Any questions or comments from council? Any questions or comments from the public? Is there a motion to accept the budget calendar?
Motion,
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Orth and a second by Councilmember Lyons. Councilmember Orth,
yes.
Councilmember Lyons,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. 3 in favor, so that passes. 3-6, report and recommendation, agreement between the city of Lemoore and Optimized Investment Partners LLC to perform investment advisory services. Mr. Northcraft.
This was initially presented a couple months ago to the council. And we've looked at some alternatives to this option, but we do feel that an interim agreement, at least for the next 6 months, would be would optimize our ability to invest our idle funds. We've reviewed a second proposal and also checked the references of Optimize, and all were very positive in that direction. The second proposal was more expensive in the first year, but cheaper in the future years. So we feel that, well, potentially because Jocelyn and I have been working since Friday to try to get at least more of our money put into the local agency investment fund. That's the state fund that we'd start drawing interest on the tens of millions of dollars that we're not currently getting, but we're losing up because we've not been able to do that yet. We're losing up to $9,000 a day. So I'm very anxious to try to move that along. And then with that opportunity of getting it invested, we can build our knowledge of investment and also look at the options. We also surveyed some other cities, what their practices are, and we can look at all our options and come back to you after 6 months or so with a recommendation of having thoroughly reviewed everything, but right now Optimize has done the most work and could hit the ground the fastest they can get us invested in a week or so. And I think it's real important that we do that. We can substantially increase the investment revenues that we project for for the remainder of this year as well as next year by utilizing them as soon as possible. So our recommendation is that we do approve the agreement, approved to be in substantial final form with edits and modification to be made by city staff, which are hereby approved, as the city attorney has some modifications she would like to make in those agreements.
Any questions or comments from council?
Obviously, there's some sort of protection. I mean, obviously, it's not 100%, but there's some kind of protection
Yes,
when you're putting that kind of money. Someone running away one day going to Belize is
when I
not
first
fair.
when I first looked at this, I think I woke up in the middle of the night with that nightmare that 40 million might walk away. Actually, the city staff will do all the investment. They are advisors and they recommend how us to advise, and they facilitate through the banks and through the brokers how to do that, but they do not ever touch our money. So it is controlled, and part of the controls are why we have such difficulty investing it, why we tried last Friday and we're still trying today. Both Wells Fargo, our bank, and Leif requires wet signatures, hand delivered things in order to authorize people to make those investments. So everyone assures me that we are very well safe since they do not actually invest our money. They only advise us how we invest it. Good point, though.
Can we backdate the check?
I wish.
Okay.
5 years.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we're putting another hat on another employee that's going to, are they going to watch this?
Yes,
Is it-
we go, Jocelyn
the
and I will go through the training on how to do it. It's a couple-hour training, and then they will be advising us until we get up to speed. But we've got a lot of money we need to get in
No,
good investments.
I
And
love
they'll
the
be
idea.
laddered investments. So every 3 months or so, they'll come up
Oh,
for
okay.
renewal. So we stagger. So something comes up and we need more of the money. It's not like we've overinvested and can't get it out.
I love the idea. I love the idea. I love it. I just concerned about one more hat for one more person, but if that's fine, let's start saving some money.
Yeah, one of our vacant positions would probably be the second person along with Jocelyn on that down the road. I should mention Robert Machalik with Optimize, I believe, is on Zoom if you have any questions for him.
I'm good. We need to do it. So, I mean, as long as we're safe, it's all good. Sounds like we are, so.
Is there any public comment on this item? Okay, I'll bring it back to council for a motion
Of approval.
to approve.
Success street?
Yeah, I don't have the staff report in front of me.
Yes, so it won't be in the staff report. So we're looking for a motion that it be approved as to substantial final form with edits and modifications to be made by city staff, which are hereby approved. And those modifications will come from our office.
Motion to approve what you just said.
Okay.
She said it better than I could.
100%.
Now,
And I will second it.
You have a motion by Councilmember Lyons and a second by Councilmember Orth. Councilmember Lyons,
yes.
Councilmember Orth,
Yes.
and I vote yes, 3 in favor, so it passes. 6-4, report and recommendation, city manager recruitment, Mr. Northcraft.
Thank you. As you know, my plan is for 3 to 6 months to be with the city, hopefully to help to the extent I can stabilize the city, but also prepare for an excellent permanent city manager for you. Much of what I'm doing and orientating to Lemoore will need to be repeated by the permanent city manager. So there is an advantage to getting the process underway. Many of the issues I deal with, will go beyond the 6 months parameter as well. So I think to move forward with a long-term, city manager is definitely in the city's advantage. Need that stabilization, with a future with a permanent city manager. So we prepared this flyer that's in your agenda item. We tried to leave the salary open to see what we could get in, but the state is micromanaging this as well, and we have to put the current range in there. I do think that we can consider things. I noted in there, the average salary in the 9 cities in our area is 196,000, which is 25,000 above our top range. And the average population of those cities is smaller than ours. But we can see what the recruitment will bring us and not make that decision at this time. I would also suggest, as we begin to get, since it's open until filled, the personnel experts tell me that's the way to get people to apply right away rather than wait for a deadline. So as we start getting applications in, it's suggested that maybe the council may want to have a 2-person committee. Since you don't have a full council tonight, you may want to hold that off to make that decision. But if you're agreeable to that, then together with staff, some outside experts, and the city council, we can hopefully screen down to a group that either could be interviewed individually by the council or some process with the community as well. So that would be our recommendation to approve the recruitment brochure and decide if you wish to have a 2-person committee to help with the review of applications.
Any questions or comments from council? Why are you making that face? Do you have a question?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, any public comment on this this item? No. All right, I'm back to you, Stuart.
No.
No? No questions,
I
no
decided
comments?
not. Yeah, no,
You don't want to say it out loud?
no.
Okay.
Oh, well, I guess we need to discuss if we want to maybe have that 2-person committee. We probably won't select those people tonight because everyone's not here, but maybe, I mean, there's 3 of us. I guess we could probably decide if we want a 2-person committee.
You sure?
I support that. I mean, that's just to dwindle it down.
Yeah,
to,
that's just
right.
dwindling down.
Yeah.
It's just dwindling. Hopefully, we're gonna have 100.
There's
and then
not
we'll
so
get
much
down
back
to-
and forth.
We get down to an interview panel, and then we'll all interview,
Mhm.
kind of like we did. Okay.
I think that's the
That's the plan.
consensus,
I
yeah.
would support
Mhm.
that.
Okay,
And then now I need a motion to accept the city manager recruitment flyer? Brochure,
Brochure.
sorry,
Motion.
it's fancy, it's a
Motion to-
brochure.
Approve the brochure and the 2-person panel.
I got a motion by Councilmember Lyons,
And I will second that.
a second by Councilmember Orth, surprise. Councilmember Lyons?
Yes.
Councilmember Orth?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. 3
So-
yeses, it passes. Moving on to 6-5, approval request for proposals. Timeline Refuse Services, Mr. Rivera. Oh, okay.
Actually, it's our Public Works Management analyst, random reader.
Good evening, council. So the schedule we have posted in the RFP, it would be scheduled to go out for March 8th, which means we would actually post it. We would send it to Sentinel tomorrow. So just an overview of this schedule, the RFP would go out March 8th with a rollout of programs August 1st. So there is quite a bit of gap in there. It was about 5 months. And that is, so just going through this, it's going to be the conferences, questions, evaluations, selecting proposer, finalizing agreements. And then there's usually, after all that, there's usually about a 60-day rollout time to get them associated with the city before they fully roll out their programs. We just wanted to bring this to council and kind of just bring up the RFP one more time before we actually just submit it, since it is coming basically tomorrow.
Any questions or comments from council?
Yeah, I know that I had pushed for this. But at this point, everything's going on. I think we need to hold off on all this and wait to see one thing at a time, in my opinion. I think we need to just pump our brakes. I think we need to pump our brakes and not go out to RFP, not spend the money. Let's just see how this is gonna work out with getting a new city manager and finding out their input and just look at it with a different set of eyes to see if everybody likes a different set of eyes. That's my 2 cents.
Any other questions or comments from council? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and move it to public comment on this item. Is there any public comment?
Hi, Chris Betty Wells, city employee, refuse coordinator. I've been an employee with the city of Lemoore since 2001. My former superintendent retired because of all this, or was partial because of all this. He chose retirement. We're losing a lot of good people because of instability. I support you putting a halt to this. I think we need to regroup, rethink what we're doing. Because once we lose this, it's gone permanently. We can't afford to get back in the business. We can continue to keep control, accountability, give us the chance to meet these standards. We can do it if we have city manager support, public works director support, analysts, assistant public works director support. Our guys can make it happen. Give us a chance to rebuild, regroup, and use the staff that is budgeted, the equipment that is budgeted and approved. We can make it happen. So I'd appreciate if you guys would reconsider and support us, and we can make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Mr. Reed?
Down Main Farm no more. I'm not a city employee. But I would make this comment. I agree with Mr. Orth. You know, you're in the process right now, you're gonna want to hire a new city manager. We don't know what that's gonna cost us. And also, we're gonna be doing some investment. We hope to improve our income from there. That can also help to pay for the refuge service. So I would think it's a good idea, Mr. Orth, and I recommend that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to council.
I just think we didn't let our workers do their job and give them all the tools they deserve to have to make this work. And let's keep our employees working and give them what they need. That's what we need to do, in my opinion.
So we're looking for a direction on this one, correct, Mary?
Well, originally you were asking for approval of the timeline. If there's direction from council to hold off, that can just be by consensus.
Okay,
Is there-
motion to consent to.
No motion,
No
just
motion.
consensus
Is there
to
consensus
hold off.
To kill it.
to hold off on the
To hold off.
RFP?
I give consensus on it, but I would also like to thank anyone that took the time to, you know, put forth a plan, an idea. Sir, talking to you, I know you know, but yeah, I agree.
I too want to thank the help, but I want to make my point. I'll give
Looks like we have consensus.
Yes, and I'm not speaking for or against the consensus. Certainly will support the consensus. I will point out, we have 6 vacancies that we've been holding in order to have the option to transfer people from refuse and keep them in the city if they wish to do so. And we're also trying to hire temporary drivers because we are short. So we will have to continue to do that. Is it thought maybe 6 months, 8 months, or is it tabled without indefinitely?
Well,
So-
I want to give them the opportunity I want to give them all the tools they asked for in their budget, because it is an enterprise account. Give them all the tools they need to do it. And let's give them an opportunity to do what these men have done for years, and then to me, I think it just needs to stop, and we need to just give them the tools they need. I would like to look at the salary to see if we can, what do we need to do to get their drivers and keep their drivers? But I think from my research, a lot of this has to come with, there's uncertainty. I mean, they said it, there's uncertainty. We lost a 30-year boss because of this. It's, if you're gonna lose the best guy, he's not the best, the most seniority guy, because of this, you're gonna lose everybody else. I think we need to look at the salaries and find out what's going on, why we're losing these people. And if it's a little bit of a bump or whatever, it's an enterprise account, it's got money in it, you know? I think we need to, and then give them the tools that they asked for to do their job. You know, it's like sending a police officer out without a gun. We can't do that. We can't do that. We gotta give them a shot. So my thing is just, let's let it go away for now, and a year from now, 10 years from now, we can come back to this.
Okay.
But I do want to thank everyone that did the hard work of finding out all the information, but you know.
So just to clarify, this is being held indefinitely until further notice.
I,
Correct.
yes.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to 6-6, approval investment policy, Mr. Northcraft.
Yes, kind of related to the hiring of Optimize to improve our investments. We need to have an investment policy. This was recommended by Optimize and reviewed by our city attorney. And staff is recommending approval of this investment policy for the city of Lemoore.
We've never had one.
Not to this extent.
But it's very brief, so this is
Better. Okay, cool.
For the record, she did say that we do have one, but it's very brief, and this one is in more detail.
Thank you.
We need to get your microphone working. Any questions from,
We're gonna send out to them.
did you guys have any questions?
I don't have any.
Okay. Any public comment on this item? You don't have to say your name and address anymore.
You crossed my train of thought now. I would say, are we approving the policy tonight? Or are we making a recommendation to create one?
No, it would be approving the policy that was attached to the agenda and subject to our review. So what we're trying to do is not hold up the investment process. Since the city manager stated that the city's losing about 9,000 a day.
Yes,
And
I-
so the motion that I would be looking for would be approval of the investment policy subject to our review and or revision. Because then otherwise we need to bring it back.
Was the approval policy in the agenda?
Yes.
So we can go look at the policy itself?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
In the back.
it's on the screen right now too, but you're not going to be able to read the whole thing on there. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and bring it back to council to entertain the motion that Mary said.
Approved. She said it's approved.
You need a motion.
Motion.
I'll second your motion.
What'd I say?
Approved.
Oh, my bad. Motion approved.
I have a motion.
Motion to approve is stated by the city attorney.
Oh, I
What
think
she
we're losing
said.
it. I have a motion to approve as stated by the city attorney from Councilmember Orth and a second by Councilmember Lyons. Councilmember Orth,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons,
Yes.
and I vote yes. 3 in favor, it passes. Moving on to city council reports and requests. Councilmember Lyons.
Mr. Northcraft, thank you very much. I'm gonna say this as nicely as possible. I would not want your job. I can't believe you took it. I'm glad you did. And, thank you again. Refuse Department, thank you guys. Sorry for the inconvenience. The Police Department, thank you. The Fire Department, thank you for saving us millions of dollars. And, that's all I have for now.
Okay, I had the opportunity to go to my CART meeting last Wednesday. And it was brought up, we had I don't know what her title is, so. She's like the community relations officer for the base. She was there. And she
Cynthia?
gave, huh?
Cynthia?
Yes, she's a nice lady. She gave us a lot of information that I think we going forward, Mr. Northcraft and I talked about this in our meeting and going forward. They have 13,000, roughly 13,000 people living on that base. They have 15,000 work on that base. 162 students to go to school there. I believe moving forward, we need to work with them to work with them to find ways to work together, to get our community and show the people, the investors, that we have 13,000 people, 8 miles down the road. And that's something that we can tap into. Also would like, I've heard a rumor that we're going to reach out to the palace, hopefully. Every time you hear their commercial, they end with Lemoore. They advertise for us. We need to work with them. The CART is doing quarterly passes. They're starting back up. We approved that last meeting. I think they're $25 for the quarter. It's real good. We're having a little problem with one of our electric buses. We bought an electric bus from Germany. We've had it for 6 months and it's been in the shop more than it's driven, to the point to where they lemon lawed it. They took it back to Canada. And they're sending us a new one.
I thought you said it was from Germany.
Yeah, but Canada has the manufacturing where they can't figure out these buses. If one sensor goes bad, it stops. Literally driving down the road, one sensor goes off, it stops. You can't drive it no more. God forbid it catches on fire because they don't know what's going to happen. So we ordered it. We have another one coming. So that's CART. Our transit center is coming along. They're saying it's going to be 12 months. So it's a lot of stuff out there. So thank you for everybody. I just ask all employees, stick with us. We're moving forward. There's a lot of bumps, but please let us get us going the right direction. $9,000 a day in investment is it's, you can take that two ways. You can get very, very angry, or you can get very, very excited. I get both. So, moving forward, just let's get this city back to where it needs to be. Thank you.
I just want to piggyback on that. You probably just slipped your mind, but CART is also providing free transit for the last 2 weeks of March 18th through the 30th.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. Let's see. I attended the city county coordinating meeting with Mayor Pro Tem Gornick, in Avenel. That was a good meeting with all of the county represented in all the cities there. Let's see, also attended the Board of Supervisors meeting last week. The part that would affect us is that the board did approve to extend the library hours. So check their website. I did check that and I left that paper at home, so I apologize. I don't have those times, but the hours are extended into the evening. Since Mr. Gornick's not here, I will share that the South Fork Kings GSA did pass their 218 hearing finally, so that should move that forward. Also attended the opening ceremonies for Lemoore Little League. Those kids are troopers. It was raining out there and they were still out there playing ball, having a good time, acted like it wasn't even raining. So kudos to those, the kids and their families for sticking it out in the rain. I attended the League of California Cities legislative briefing webinar this morning. I didn't get the whole thing, but there are some SBs and ABs coming down that just do not make sense. So I'll be keeping an eye on those and hopefully bringing back to council to support or not support some of those in the future. Also attended the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Citizen Advisory Committee today, and everyone on that panel, there's it's a big Zoom meeting with people from the Fresno office, from the Bakersfield office, and from the Modesto office. And one of the things that we discussed in length and all said our piece about was the regulations coming down with all of the fleets and the trucking companies and how it affects municipalities and businesses and small businesses, and that there's really no regard to the cost of all of that for everyone. So just wanted to reiterate to all of you that we're letting our voices be heard, and I don't know how much good it will do dealing with CARB and the EPA, but they're making it known. So I just wanted to reiterate that. In the Kings Waste and Recycling Authority meeting, that we discussed was the trucking contract. They went ahead and approved the renewal of the contract for Jason Proctor Trucking. So that was done. And then I also wanted to say that the Lemoore BMX is hosting the state qualifier on the 9th. It will be for Lemoore residents, and that they'll do signups. I don't remember what time they start, but they'll start racing about 1 p.m. And on the 10th, that'll be for the Hanford people to qualify, but that will be in Lemoore because their track is kind of underwater right now. So they'll be doing both here in Lemoore. So it would be pretty busy over there. But the Lemoore state qualifier for Lemoore kids is on the 9th. And with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Oh, if you didn't vote, you still have time. So go next door and vote. Make sure you do that. So with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you.